In a world where every secret lives inside a line of code, power isn't taken by force. It's stolen through firewalls. When a ruthless cyber attack threatens to cripple one of China's largest corporations, panic spreads like wildfire. But just as everything collapses, an unseen hacker known only as Computer Angel swoops in and saves the system, but no one expected her to become its deadliest threat. This is a tale of code, blood, and sisterhood, where love collides with vengeance, and every click could be the last. Subscribe for more deadly love stories and killer twists, where every secret comes with a body count. The film opens in China, where Qiao Lui, the powerful chairman of a leading corporation, holds an urgent board meeting after a cyber attack cripples their system. Just as panic rises, an anonymous hacker known as Computer Angel neutralizes the virus and restores the company's mainframe. Impressed, Qiao Lui orders his team to find this mysterious savior. He senses potential in her, a valuable ally for a company where security means survival. But Computer Angel isn't just a hacker. Her real name is Lynn, and she works alongside her sister Sue. The two are hacker assassins who weaponize their late father's classified satellite technology to infiltrate networks, eliminate targets, and vanish without a trace. When the company finally tracks her down, Lynn is invited to meet Qiao Lui in person. Security runs a full scan to ensure she carries no weapons before escorting her into his office. Qiao greets her warmly, intrigued by her composure. She smiles and tells him she is both a computer angel and a computer virus. Calmly, she explains that her team had infiltrated their system, not to steal data, but to disable their security portals and cameras. The truth dawns on Qiao Lui too late. She's here to kill him. Laughing off the threat, he presses a button that drops a reinforced aluminum dome around him. Yet Lynn remains calm. She triggers a signal through her device, sending a piercing frequency through the guard's earpieces that shatters every window. As they reel from the sound, she seizes a weapon and opens fire. Confident he's safe, Qiao mocks her from within the sealed dome. But he doesn't realize the danger is already inside. When Lynn arrived, she had placed her glasses on his desk, glasses laced with cyanide that release a fatal dose the moment she activates them. Qiao collapses within seconds. Meanwhile, Sue monitors everything remotely, guiding every Lynn's move, helping her outmaneuver the guards and slip out before reinforcements close in. Qiao Lui's assassination shocks the corporate world, prompting a high-profile investigation led by Inspector Kong Yat Hung, a relentless officer determined to uncover the truth. The next day, Lynn and Sue visit their parents' grave. As Sue replays old footage of their happier days together, Lynn's focus drifts. Later, she runs into Yen, an old flame from her past. After their parents' death, she and Sue vanished from their old life, but Yen never stopped searching. He tells her he'll soon be leaving for New York and gives her his contact, hoping they can meet before his departure. Seeing him again stirs something deep in Lynn. Memories flood back of a love that once existed but never had the chance to grow. That night, her mind lingers on him. While outside with Sue, she becomes lost in thought. Sue notices and teases her about it. Then, without warning, Lynn takes off running. Sue races after her. At the airport, Yen spots Lynn rushing through the crowd. He embraces her tightly, relieved she came. Back at Louis's company, Chao Nung, the late chairman's brother, clashes with Lai Kai-jo, the firm's investment manager. Nung orders Lai to invest $2 billion in a stock, but Lai resists, insisting they consult the board before making such a risky move, especially so soon after Qiao Lui's death. Ning grows irritated. He doesn't want accountability, he wants compliance. His goal isn't profit, but access to company funds. It soon becomes clear that Nung is no grieving brother. He is the one who orchestrated Qiao Lui's assassination, working with his lover to seize control of the company. Together, they justify their crime as revenge for being cast aside after helping Louis build his empire from the ground up. Meanwhile, Inspector Kong Yat Hung intensifies her investigation into Louis's murder. She's sharp, methodical, and closing in fast. Realizing this, Nung grows nervous. He orders his girlfriend to contact Computer Angel again, this time to eliminate Lai, whose cooperation with the inspector threatens to expose everything. Once the hit is done, Nung plans to silence Computer Angel too, erasing all traces that lead back to him. Yacht Hung's trail leads her to a small record store. She's searching for the song that Lynn played during the assassination to disrupt the company's communications. There, she crosses paths with Sue, who instantly recognizes her. Smiling faintly, Sue lifts the exact record Yacht Hung came for, plays it, and places the headphones over the inspector's ears. The tune hits Yacht Hung like deja vu, but when she turns, Sue has already vanished. One rainy evening, Lynn and Yen walk home together when a group of thugs ambushes them. Yen steps forward to protect her, but a single blow knocks him out. Lynn reacts on instinct, swift, precise, lethal. Within seconds, the robbers scamper away. The glimpse of the gun in her purse tells Yen everything. The mystery of her secret life finally unfolds before him. Yet, instead of fear, he shows compassion. He rushes to a nearby shop, buys warm water, and tends to her trembling hands. His quiet gesture melts her defenses completely. Back home, Sue prepares the tools for their next contract. To her surprise, Lynn cancels it. She wants out. Yen has proposed to her, and for the first time she envisions a future beyond blood and code. Sue is stunned, but wishes her well. Sue had always believed that her sister's protection was doubt in disguise. To her, Lynn never saw her as capable of handling fieldwork. Determined to prove her worth, Sue decides to take the job herself. That night, Lynn is out on a date with Yen when she realizes Sue hasn't checked in all day. Unease creeps in. She calls, but there's no answer. Pulling up the home security feed, she sees what Sue is doing and races out without hesitation. At a nightclub across town, Lai Kai-jo dances under flashing lights, unaware that Sue has him in her sights. Hidden above the crowd, she struggles to steady her aim, her inexperience betraying her. Just as she hesitates, Lynn arrives and takes the shot with surgical precision. Lai drops instantly, and chaos erupts as the sisters slip away. At that same moment, Inspector Yacht Hung, already at the club with her subordinate, senses their presence. She runs into Sue and Lynn in the elevator, and a tense standoff follows. Lynn steps in and she and Yacht Hung clash in a fierce combat. Both women move like mirrored predators, equally skilled, equally relentless. Suddenly, armed thugs storm the corridor. In that moment, enemies turn allies as the four dive for cover and return fire side by side. Amid the chaos, Sue races to the parking lot to ready her car for their escape. One of the thugs creeps up behind her, gun aimed at her back, but before he can shoot, Yacht Hung fires first. At that same moment, Lynn takes down another gunman who nearly had Yacht Hung in his sights. The four of them manage to escape safely in the vehicle. A few miles from the scene, Lynn throws Yacht Hung and her subordinate out of the car before speeding away. Back home, Lynn tells Sue that the men who ambushed them were most likely sent by Nung, their last client. Sue vows to eliminate him, but Lynn refuses to cross that line. They've only ever killed for money, never out of vengeance. She blames Sue for disobeying her and taking the contract, insisting that if she had listened, the police would never have tracked her down. The tension erupts into a heated argument, two sisters now standing on opposite sides of the life they chose. Sue storms to her room in tears while Lynn sits alone in quiet reflection. That night, Lynn receives a birthday message from Yin. When she calls him back, the weight she's carried for years begins to unravel. She tells him about the night her parents were assassinated before their eyes and how one of the killers spared them. He gave her a gun, and in that moment, consumed by rage and grief, she pulled the trigger and killed the men who murdered her parents. That man became her mentor, the one who turned her into the weapon she is today. Since then, her hands and her soul have been stained with blood. She never allowed Sue to kill because she didn't want her to inherit that same guilt. She reveals that their father was developing a satellite system called World Panorama, a technology meant to help the police fight crime. But rival businessmen sought to steal it and murdered their parents for it. The next day, Yacht Hung arrives at the station and faces harsh criticism from her superior over the chaos at the club that left her subordinate hospitalized. But she refuses to back down. She's determined to solve this case no matter the cost. When she returns to her desk, she finds a birthday cake waiting. Her colleague teases her, assuming it's from a lover. As she opens it, her phone rings. It's Sue, cheerfully singing her a birthday song. Yat Hung quickly realizes Sue has hacked the station's cameras and is watching her in real time. Meanwhile, Lynn wakes to find Sue's camcorder at the door. It contains old footage of her, Sue, and their parents, fragments of a happier life long gone. The memories bring a bittersweet smile to her face. She calls Sue, who's at a bakery buying her a cake, and they reconcile. Lynn jokes that if she disobeys her again, she'll make her do frog jumps like their parents used to. A moment that makes them both laugh. But peace doesn't last long. When Sue receives another call from Yat Hung, she looks out and sees the inspector waving at her from across the street. Having traced the cake to the bakery and knowing she shares the same birthday as Lynn, Yat Hung is certain Sue will come to get a cake. Realizing she's been found, Sue flees in her car. Yat Hung gives chase and calls for backup. As the pursuit intensifies, Sue calls Lynn for help navigating the roads to escape the police. Lynn guides her over the phone, unaware that Nung's men have just invaded their home. She's forced to fight back, taking down several attackers while still trying to help Sue find a way out. In the chaos, Lynn is hit by a fatal shot just as Sue finally loses the police. Sue returns home, excited to surprise her sister with the cake and gifts, but the moment she steps inside, her smile fades. She finds Lynn lying in a pool of blood. The CCTV footage reveals everything. The ambush, the struggle, the shot that ended it all. Realization crashes down on her. If she hadn't called for Lynn's help, her sister would still be alive. Lynn's death becomes the price of her own recklessness, and the sight of Nung and his men fills her with a consuming rage. Sue visits her parents' grave holding the camcorder that carries the memories she treasures most. She digs into the soil, ready to bury it and everything it represents. Then, a familiar voice stops her. Lynn's voice. The camcorder begins to play a video she had recorded that morning. In it, Lynn tells her she isn't angry, reminding her that their mother never blamed them for their mistakes, and neither does she. Overwhelmed, Sue collapses in tears. When the video ends, she buries the camcorder beside their parents' tomb, her heart breaking all over again. Meanwhile, Nung isn't finished. He frames Yat Hung for Lynn's murder, planting evidence that points to her. Just as the inspector is being taken away, Sue appears and rescues her. Holding her at gunpoint, she orders her to come along. Otherwise, she'll be killed by either Nung or by her. Sue explains that anti-corruption agents had earlier shown her proof of a suspicious deposit into Yat Hung's account, part of Nung's setup. She proposes a deal. Help her avenge her sister's death, and in return, she'll hand over the recording of the murder to prove her innocence. Yat Hung accepts, agreeing to assist only with the computer. At the same time, Nung grows increasingly paranoid. He hires a cybersecurity expert to install a high-level defense system in his building, desperate to block any outside infiltration. But Sue is already inside. Guided by Yat Hung's voice through an earpiece, she infiltrates the facility through the elevator shaft, disabling the system as she ascends. The moment she steps onto the main floor, armed men swarm her from every direction. She fights through them with ruthless precision. Her movements fluid and calculated, shooting, disarming, and striking with flawless timing. Using her grappling hook, she swings between floors. The upgraded defense system soon cuts Yat Hung's visual feed, leaving her blind. Frustrated, Sue rips off her earpiece and continues on her own. Every corridor becomes a battlefield as she tears through Nung's men, relentless and silent. When one of them finally gets the drop on her and points a gun to her head, Yat Hung appears and takes him out. She signals Sue to proceed with her mission while she covers the rear. Upstairs, the fight intensifies. Sue faces Nung's top bodyguard in a brutal, drawn-out battle that shifts from gunfire to close combat, fists, sticks, and blades clashing in a storm of motion. By the time Yat Hung reaches her, Sue is bloodied and exhausted but refuses to back down. Together, they take on the last guard, fighting in sync until they finally bring him down. They move into the office where Lynn once assassinated Nung's brother, Louis. Nung ambushes them, but Yat Hung reacts fast, knocking him down. Desperate, he hits the button to seal himself inside the bulletproof dome, but Yat Hung jams the mechanism. In that instant, Sue swings her grappling hook with lethal force, slamming it into him, killing him instantly. In the aftermath, silence fills the room. Both women stand still, catching their breath. In that quiet, they acknowledge what has grown between them. Respect, understanding, and something deeper. Sadly, they walk different paths. One hunts criminals, the other kills for them. They share a kiss and part ways. Later, Sue returns to Lynn's grave. Kneeling before the headstone, she thanks her sister for everything, for protecting her, for loving her, for saving her even in death. She promises to stay strong and to tell Yen the truth, knowing he was the one Lynn truly loved. Elsewhere, Yen waits at a restaurant, unaware of the tragedy that has unfolded. The table is set, the candles are lit, and he checks the time, waiting for a date that will never come. And that's the story of Computer Angel, a world where love, loyalty, and death all run on the same line of code. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe to Asia Recaps, where every story hides a secret, and every secret ends with a twist. Hit the bell so you never miss another deadly romance, assassin thriller, or forbidden revenge film. Drop a comment below. Would you walk away from vengeance or finish what she started?